Hi, my name is Natasha Jonathan. I am a crochet tutor at My Creative Butterfly, where we transform strings to pretty things. I teach crochet through my courses, classes, and patterns not just as a hobby but also as a tool that will help you focus and concentrate better in everything that you do. I've been crocheting for 25 years, in which I have taught over 1,000 students globally. I design crochet patterns and classes from beginner till advanced level crocheters. You can find me on all social media platforms by the name My Creative Butterfly, and to know more about me, you can visit my website www.mycreativebutterfly.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and if you like what you learned today, don't forget to like and subscribe. In this video today, I'll show you how to crochet this pretty rose planner tab or bookmark. This is a perfect Valentine gift for a book lover, or you can make it for yourself, or you can make it as a gift, not necessarily for Valentine's. It is an all-time favorite of mine. I have made it in red color. If you want, you can just change the color to customize it. There are very little materials that you'll need in order to make one of your own. Also, it is very easy to make and it is a quick last minute gift. So before we start with the actual tutorial, let me show you the materials that you'll need in order to make this. So the material required is a size 20 crochet cotton thread, sharp pair of scissors, a 0.75 mm crochet hook, a jumbo size paper clip. I am using a 2-inch clip. You can use a bigger or smaller one as per your choice. And a tapestry needle for weaving in the ends and for attaching the flower to the paper clip. Also, it is not necessary that you have to use a size 20 crochet cotton thread. If you want, you can replace it with acrylic thread. Also, if you want, you can use a thicker or a thinner thread. A thicker thread will give you a bigger flower and a thinner thread will obviously give you a smaller flower. Make sure that you adjust the hook size according to the thread that you are using. So you can customize it in a number of different ways by simply modifying the type of thread or the type of hook that you are using with it, and also by modifying the colors. So let us see how to make it. So start with a slip knot. Now do a chain 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now we are just going to make some loops first, in which we'll make the petals. So this rose is made out of a total of 14 petals. So we'll make 4 such chain loops. In each loop we'll make 1 petal. So this has 8 big petals and 6 small petals. That will make a total of 7 petals. So for making those loops, I have done a chain 4. Now do a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. Go in the 4th chain and do a double crochet. Just repeat the same thing. Again do chain 4 and again a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. Now as you can see that we are creating these small loops here. So this is the place where we will be placing the petals. So just repeat this till you have a total of 14 such loops. So here I am done with the 14 loops that we want for making the petals. Now we are going to make 8 large petals and 6 small petals to complete the rose flower. So for that, just flip over the chain that you have just made. Now go in the first gap here and do a slip stitch. Now here we are going to do the first big petal. So for the big petal, we'll always follow the same pattern. That is a slip stitch in the gap, then 3 chains, then 5 triple crochets, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4 and 5, and again chain 3 and a slip stitch in the same gap. So this is your first petal. Like this we are going to make a total of 8 petals. So now for the next one, go in the next gap, do a slip stitch, repeat the same thing, 3 chains, 5 triple crochets, 3 chains and a slip stitch. So just keep repeating the same pattern till you have a total of 8 large petals. Then we'll see next how to do the small petals. Now here I am done with the 8 large petals. Now we'll start with the small petals. We'll do 6 small petals in these remaining 6 gaps. So for the small petal, there will be a slight change in the pattern. We'll start the same, do a slip stitch in the next gap we have here. Now do 2 chains, then 5 double crochets. Instead of triple crochets, we are doing double crochets, and instead of chain 3, we are doing chain 2. That is the only difference. So do 3, 4 and 5, then chain 2 and again a slip stitch in the same loop. So you can see that this is the small petal, this is the large petal that we did. Now repeat the same pattern for the small petal 5 more times. So a slip stitch in the next gap, 2 chains, 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then do 2 chains and a slip stitch. Repeat this till you have a petal in each loop that you have made in the previous round. So we have 4 more. So I'll repeat the pattern 4 more times. Chain 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, then again chain 2 and a slip stitch. Again slip stitch, chain 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, then again chain 2 and a slip stitch. Again The same thing, slip stitch, chain 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, then chain 2 and again a slip stitch. Now repeat it one last time till you have the last petal. So a slip stitch again, chain 2 and 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, again chain 2 and a slip stitch. So this is it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 large petals and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 small petals. We are done with the rows. Now we'll be using this tail of thread for sewing the flower together, also sewing it to the paper clip. So I'm just going to leave a nice long tail. I prefer to leave around 12 to 14 inches long tail of thread. So I'll just fasten off, leaving a nice long tail. Now just secure the end by pulling this loop through. That's it. So there you are. Now let us see how to shape this into a rose, and then we'll see how to attach it to the paper clip. Now before we start shaping it into the rose form, we are going to weave in the starting tail of thread, the small one, this one, because we don't need it anymore. So let us just thread it into the tapestry needle. And then just pass it through the stitches a few times in a zigzag manner, and then we'll just cut it off. It is a good idea to weave in the starting tail before you start rolling and sewing the flower together, so that the starting tail, the smaller tail of thread, do not get in the way. You can also do it later if you prefer, but I prefer to do it first. So that's it. Done. Now let us see how to shape it. So we'll start rolling so that these smaller petals are on the inside. So just pinch the first petal with your thumb. Make sure that you hold this tail of thread also, because we'll be using it for sewing. So pinch it and start turning the flower like this. We'll not do the entire flower at one go. So once you are done with this, again, before you start twisting the flower, thread the longer tail into the tapestry needle, so that we can keep sewing it while we are turning it. Now flip the flower over, and now we are just going to put a few stitches here so that the flower stays together and it stays in shape. So just keep sewing in a circular manner. If you don't want to go into the hassle of sewing the flower, you can also use fabric glue or a glue gun to glue it in shape. That also works. I prefer to sew because I think that sewing is a more permanent way of doing it. So the stitches won't come off and the flower won't get distorted. The shape will not get distorted. It will keep its shape. So I prefer sewing, but if you don't want to do that, you can also use glue gun or the fabric glue to glue the flower together. So just keep sewing it like this. Keep twisting and then keep sewing it. Make sure that you don't sew it too tight, otherwise the flower will not look delicate. We want it to have a slight delicate look. The petals should be slightly open. So just sew it very loosely, not very loose. You have to make sure that the flower keeps its shape, but it should not be too solid. We want the petals to look a little delicate. If you are not happy with it first time, please go ahead, then just rip off the stitches and then sew it again. It takes a little practice, so don't worry if you don't get it in the first go. You can always just rip off the stitches again and then start with the sewing process. There it is. So the flower is in nice shape. Now I'm just going to put a knot here so that flower does not open up. So that's it. Now the next step is to attach it to the paper clip. Now make sure that you hold the paper clip like this, so that the double U is at the bottom and the single one is on the top. We are going to attach the flower here because this is where the paper clip goes on the paper. So we'll just flip the flower over, place the U pin like this following the video, and then just start sewing it to the pin. Again, here also, if you don't want to sew it, you can always use glue gun or fabric glue to glue it to the paper clip. That is entirely up to you. I prefer sewing because I find it more reliable and more durable. But it is always replaceable with gluing because gluing would be quick and it will save you a lot of time and effort. Just make sure that it is nice and sturdy. It should not be loose. When you are using the paper clip, the rose should not keep changing its position. It should be nice and sturdy and it should hold its place. Again, don't pull it too tight, otherwise you will distort the shape of the rose. We don't want that. Here also the same formula goes. If you are not happy with the stitching in the first time, you can rip off the stitches and do the stitching again. So there, the shape is good. So I'll just tie a knot again and I'll just weave in the end, and then we'll be ready to use our bookmark. So there you go. Now just pass it through a few stitches. Now just cut the thread off very close to the work. Shape it a little. If you want a stiffer rose, you can apply fabric stiffener to it. That will help to keep a better shape to the rose. I prefer the soft touch of cotton, so I don't want to put any fabric stiffener on this. So there, your cute rose flower bookmarks are ready to use or ready to gift to someone special. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and if you liked what you learned today, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment. I'll be more than happy to help. So happy crocheting. Bye bye.